All right, here we go. Okay, from this moment on, we're going to be recording the lesson, right? Okay, as I told you before, we're going to start with a short review of what we studied during the last class, and then we're going to go straight to today's lesson that's going to be in relation to vocabulary, reading comprehension, and also we're going to see some phrasal verbs as well. So all the material is available for you on Educa. So in case you want to follow the lesson on paper or on your computer, you can go straight to Educa and download each of the materials that are available for you, right? But we're going to start immediately with the review. Before we start, I need to ask you if you have any questions before we start, any concerns, something like that you would like to ask. All right, no questions then. I'm going to start presenting a very short review for you to refresh your mind regarding the patterns, the verb patterns that we had been or that we studied in the last class, right? This is an interesting topic that I think that most of you have already studied in detail during the week. And today we're going just to go quickly in order to just freshen up your mind. But in case you need to ask questions, just stop me and go on, right? Okay. This is unit number 8, and the name of the lesson of the unit was No Fear, right? In this lesson, we studied the verb patterns. Remember, the verb patterns are divided into 2 parts: verb plus ing or verb plus infinitive to, right? Here we have an example. They decided to visit Alaska last summer, right? In this case, we can see that we are using the verb plus an infinitive and then the verb, right? Here you can see the infinitive, the verb plus infinitive, but we're going to see also the verb plus gerund, right? Let's see this example. They decided to visit Alaska last summer. If you pay attention, close attention, you will see that first of all we need a subject, that is they. Then we need the verb, right? That is in this case decided. After that, we need the infinitive to, and continue with the rest of the lesson with the verb visit Alaska last summer, right? Another example, I would love to go back to there someday. In this case, well, we're using the same pattern. First of all, we need the subject, the verb, the infinitive, another verb, and then we continue with the rest of the lesson, right? I think that this is the most common pattern that we use in English. Yeah. Another pattern is verb, person plus infinitive. Okay, let's see this example. I want you to do better at school. In this case, the pattern is different, a little bit different, because we need a subject, then we need a verb, but after that we need a person. In this case, we use we use you, right, as a person, right, or as an object. And then we'll continue with the infinitive to do and finish the sentence with the rest of the words. So I'm going to let somebody in. Just give me a second. Here it is. Yes, let's go back. Okay. I need someone to study with, right? Or you need someone to study with. In this case, we're also using the same pattern, the verb, the person, as infinitive, right? I think this is the second most common form of using this pattern. Then we have Another pattern, the infinitive, but in this case with the verbs make and let. Here we have to be very careful because I have seen that some students have some confusion regarding the verb make and let, but we don't have to use to in this particular case. For example, that movie made us laugh. We don't say that movie made us to, or made us laugh, right? No, made us to laugh. No, the movie made us laugh without to. Forget about the infinitive in this case, right? We use infinitive verb form, but without to, right? We made us to laugh. No. I let you know where it is playing. If you see this, it is the same pattern. We don't use the to. In this case, the preposition to. I let you know where it is playing, right? We use the adjective and the infinitive. In this case, when we say infinitive, we are not referring to the word to. We are referring to the verb, only to the verb, right? So we have to be careful with that. I'm very happy to meet you, right? In this case, we are using the word to, which is in this case a part of the verb, right? To meet. I was wondering, I was wonderful to see your photos. It is the same part, right? Now let's move on to the ing form, which can be a little bit different in meaning of at least, right? Let's see this example. They loved flying around Alaska. Just 1 second. Someone knocking at the door as well. Sorry for the interruption again. Okay. Here we go. They loved flying around Alaska. Whenever we speak about feelings, we use the ing form, right? They also enjoyed looking for gold. We don't say they also enjoyed to look for gold, but looking for gold, because in this case, the people are referring to a kind of feeling. They feel they are feeling good, right? That's why they are enjoying looking for gold. I heard that someone was, all right, it must be a mistake. Sorry again. All right, Catalina is here. I think I will need the assistant to let people in. So otherwise I will be studying many times from the very beginning. Okay, let's continue. Then we have verb, object plus ing form. Let's see, for example, in this case, I came here. Then we have an object, which in this case the verbs. Then we have the ing form. I can hear the birds singing, right? Or I hate people cutting in line. So in this particular case, we use the ing form, right? Preposition plus ing. Whenever we have a preposition, we have to use the ing form. Right? That is something that is common sense, right? My mother is good at painting portraits. The preposition in this case is at. Right? He's afraid of flying. The preposition here is of. Now it's your turn to start participating, right? Select the correct verb pattern, and the sentence is, it's difficult to save money. And you have to decide which pattern we are using here. Number 1, number 2, or number 3. What do you think? I cannot see you, so if you can speak, that would be much better. I cannot see your chat, so I need your voice. Which one do you think would be the correct form? subject, verb subject plus two, adjective plus two, verb subject plus infinitive without two. Which one do you think is the correct pattern for this particular sentence? It's difficult to save money. Say just one, two, or
Adjective
three.
plus two.
Do you think that it is two? All right, let's see. Because here we have an adjective, right? Let's see the answer. All
Mm-hmm.
right, thank you very much. Well done. Because here you
Ooh.
can see that we have uh, an adjective, and then after an adjective we use uh, the two version, right? All right, let's move on then to a second exercise. I need to explain something. What do you think, or which do you think is the correct form? One, two, or three?
One.
Verb two, one. Okay, let's see then. Thank you very much for your participation. Very well. All right. In this particular case, we are using a verb plus the word to, all right, and then the verb. Very good. Whenever we use the verb need, we use the to version, right? Number three, my friend is good at fixing things. Which one do you think is the correct form, the correct pattern? One, two, or three? Verb subject plus two, preposition plus ing, verb subject plus infinitive without two. Which one do you think it is the correct
The second
verb
one.
pattern? The second one. Okay, let's see then. Preposition and ing. Very good. Thank you very much. Okay, now I want you to say if it is correct or incorrect. Okay, just say correct or incorrect. Remember that I cannot read your chat, so I need your voice. Right? Okay, that'll make you to feel good. Is that sentence correct or incorrect? What do you think?
It's incorrect.
It's
Incorrect.
incorrect. Incorrect. All right. Thank you very much. The correct sentence would be that'll make you feel good. Remember that whenever we use make, the verb make, we don't use the word to, right? Okay. Number two. I want you to enjoy our home. Is it correct or incorrect?
Correct.
Correct. Let's see. Very good. Number three. We're thinking to go to Rio. What do you think? Correct or incorrect?
Incorrect.
Incorrect.
Incorrect. All right, let's see. And the correct version would be we're thinking of going to Rio. Remember that whenever we use the verb think, we have to say think of, not think to. All right. In this case, we are using a preposition, right? That's why we use an ing form. And number four, I want going home. Is it correct or incorrect?
Incorrect.
Incorrect. Okay, let's see. You're right. I want to go home. No, I want going home. Whenever we use the verb want, we say want to do something, right? All right. And let's pay attention now to the grammar spot. And with this, we're going to finish our short review and we're going to start with today's lesson, right? We have to do something here. Match a pattern in A with a sentence from the email in B. For example, we have verb plus ing. He enjoyed swimming. Now let's see verb plus to. I will just do the exercise on my own and you think and see if you are right or wrong, right? Let's see. Verb plus to. Let's see which sentence is the correct one. All right. I need to warn you, right? So in this particular case, we're using the pattern verb plus to. Verb plus somebody plus to. Victor told us to throw meat, right? In this particular case, or in this case, us would be somebody or someone. verb plus somebody plus infinitive, but without to. You make them feel at home. Remember that whenever we use make, we don't use the infinitive to or the word to. Adjective plus to. It's impossible to see the scar, right? Impossible is the adjective, then we use to. And then we have preposition plus ing. We're thinking of staying 2 more weeks. Remember that whenever we use think, we say we think of, right? Estoy pensando en ti, I'm thinking of you. No, I'm thinking in you, all right? And I remember that the last class we focused we gave a lot of attention to this verb. Remember plus to and remember plus ing. And we have here 2 sentences, but the meaning is different. For example, she remembered to email her mom, and then we have she remembered emailing her mom. And the difference in meaning is this one. In the first sentence, she remembered and then emailed. Okay, so remember is the action. This is the first action, and emailed is the second action. It's like cause and effect. But in the second case, she remembered for emailing her mom. The action is different. First, she emailed, and then she remembered. Probably she sent an email in the morning, and she remembered that she sent an email in the afternoon, right? And that's it regarding the review of the previous lesson. All right, I'm going to finish the presentation. Right? I would like to know whether you have any questions regarding the verb patterns, because sometimes it's a little bit difficult to understand at the beginning, specifically in relation to the meaning. When you see, for example, the ing form and the to form, like the examples that we saw the last class, for example, she stopped to buy something, she stopped buying something. There is a difference in meaning. Have you got any questions? Something which is not clear, just ask the question now. Because I will tell you that next class we're going to have a test on units number 7 and 8. So it's very important that you ask your questions at the moment, because I can give you a personal answer, right? All right, I think that everything is clear so far, so good. So let's move on then to our class of today. We're going to start today's lesson, and I'm going to start presenting. I will use the same application that I used the other day, but now I'm not going to write too much, because we're going to focus mostly on listening and reading. In some parts, probably you will have to speak a little bit, right? Let me start presenting. Someone trying to, okay. Okay, Juliana is here. All right. Okay, here we are. I need to go back. Can you tell me if you can see the presentation, please? Because I cannot see you again. So if you can,
Yes.
all right.
Yes.
Can you see it? Is it clear or not?
Yes, it is clear.
All right. Today we're going to learn about the vocabulary. We're going to focus on the vocabulary. And in this unit, you are going to review the vocabulary parts of the body, right? This is something that we're going to be focused on, right? And we're going to see which verbs we use with different parts of the body, right? And then we're also going to be speaking about phrasal verbs, right? These are called phrasal verbs. And we'll also introduce some idioms in relation to parts of the body. For example, see eye to eye, have a sweet tooth, and things like that, right? And in relation to everyday English, we're going to deal with numbers, right? I think sometimes we think that numbers are easy, but in this particular class, we're going to focus on decimals, percentages, card numbers, prices, credit cards, and phone numbers. There are certain differences with our with the Spanish, so it's interesting that we review how to deal with numbers in English, right? You can see here that there are different pictures that I stick on, and we're going to be speaking about phobia first of all, right? And then we are going to speak about parts of the body, numbers, and probably in the second part of the class, we're going to do a kind of reading exercise. We're going to speak about, or you are going to read about two important people. This one is called Hannibal, right? And this is a Chinese, or was a leader Chinese, or Chinese leader who was called Mao Zedong, right? And this is a review of what we're going to be speaking today, right? Let's continue then. Let's get started. And in the first part, we're going to be speaking about phobia. Whenever people speak about phobia, they use different words. For example, they speak about the symptoms. So you all can imagine what symptoms you can have when you have a phobia. Panic, for example, this is another important word that people use. Anxiety, right? Most people speak about anxiety when they have a phobia. Attacks, sometimes you think that your heart is going to break in pieces. Nightmare, trauma, pain, disorder, horror, harm, episodes, disasters. Here there is I'm spelling. Terror, complex, dread, hurt, suppression, worry, catastrophe, and different words. But most of these words, I would say that all of these words have a negative connotation, right? I don't know whether you have had a kind of phobia or you have a kind of phobia. For example, in my particular case, I have a phobia of flying, right? I don't like flying. Whenever I have to travel abroad, my heart starts beating because I think that the plane can fall down, and so for me it's terrible. It's not a good experience. I know that it is almost impossible that the plane goes down, but anyway, sometimes you cannot think clearly when you have a phobia. And I have most of these symptoms. I feel panic, I feel stress, I feel some fear of dying, and I try to hold on very, very strongly to the seat in order to protect myself. And whenever the turbulence starts, oh, I feel like dying. I don't know whether you have any kind of phobia that you would like to uh, speak about for a while. Let me.
Well, I have a phobia of moths. I hate them. I hate night butterflies. I hate them.
Yeah.
I feel a lot of um, terror when I see one, or maybe when even when I, for example, I see one in paper, like it's a photo of them.
Mhm.
I get very disgusted and I get very anxious too. And I don't know, I just I even my body starts to itch and I feel like it's in top of me. I don't know. Hate them.
And do you feel some of these symptoms which are here?
I feel most of all, I feel like I feel panic and worry, and there's one symptom that I don't see there, and is that I feel disgust. I feel a lot of disgust. Like
Ah, right.
if a moth were to touch me, I would probably cry or even like gag because I hate them.
Yeah. So it's a traumatic experience then. We can say that it's a traumatic experience, like nightmare, right? To have a phobia is like having a nightmare. Thank you very much for your participation. Anyone else who would like to share the phobias that you have with the rest of the students? Phobias that you can speak about, but sometimes we don't want to speak about phobias, but sorry because there is something there. I will, all right. Okay, let's move on then. Thank you very much for your collaboration. But we're going to define what a phobia is, right? According to some experts, a phobia is defined as the unrelated fear of a situation, activity, or thing that causes one to want to avoid it. Phobias afflict more than 6 million people in the United States. Women tend to be twice as likely to suffer from a phobia compared to men. I don't know whether that is true or not because I think that men and women have the same possibility to have phobia, right? But sometimes it's something that we know that it is not true. A phobia sometimes is in our head because of a bad experience that probably we have had in the past, and we're afraid that the same situation happens again, right? Okay, there are different kinds of phobia, and and there are different names for each these types of phobia. For example, we have autophobia, ablutophobia, aviophobia, and frigophobia. All right. I want you to tell me which do you think is autophobia? Which of these words do you think we can match with autophobia? Autophobia is the fear of what? What do you think? Can it be fear to the color blue, feeling cold, cars, fridges, flying, birds, being alone, or washing? What do you think autophobia is? Autophobia is the fear of what?
Is the fear of cars, maybe?
It is the fear of cars. Let
Or
me see.
alone?
Okay, we have then two possibilities: fear of cars or being alone. All right. Here we have the word auto, right? Auto is something yourself, right? So I would say that in this case is the fear of being alone, right? We are using ing here because here we have a preposition, right? That is why we're using being and not be. Autophobia is the fear of being alone. We might think that it can be the fear of cars, but no, it's the fear of being alone. And ablutophobia, 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 uh, fear of the color blue, feeling cold, cars, uh, birds, or washing. What do you think is ablutophobia? Is the fear of what?
Uh,
I hope you don't have ablutophobia.
the color blue.
Of color blue. Okay, you think because it is a blue, right? You think that is color blue. All right. Just one second. I think that somebody Smoking. All right. And then aviophobia. What do you think aviophobia is? Is the fear of what? The fear of feeling cold, the fear of cars, fridges, flying, washing, or birds?
Flying, maybe?
Yeah, flying. If you pay attention, avio is the same as avión in Spanish, right? So some people say that it is the fear of birds, right? But it's not. And finally, frigophobia is the fear of fridges, feeling cold, cars, washing, or birds. What do you think?
Fridges.
Fridges? Do you think that there might be some people who are afraid of fridges? I don't know.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah,
People fear a lot of family things.
yes, there might be some people who are afraid of fridges because they contain a lot of food and they don't want to eat, but they want to stay away from fridges, right? Okay, there are two words which are not correct, which are incorrect. Which one do you think are incorrect?
The second one?
The second one. Okay, which one do you think would be? Let's move on. Let's move this. And which one do you think is abrotophobia?
Is the fear of watching?
Yeah, the fear of washing. All right. And the second one is psychophobia. Is where this is feeling cold. All right. There are people who are afraid of feeling cold, so they wrap up a lot. They put on a lot of warm clothes because they especially when they want to go out, probably, and they need to wrap up a lot. You know what's the meaning of wrap up? I'm going to write it here. It is a good expression that you can use. It is like this: wrap up, wrap up. I'm going to put something here for you to notice what it says. Wrap up. Wrap up is when you put on a lot of warm clothes in order to prevent cold, right? So those people try to wrap up a lot in order to especially when they go out. Okay, let's move on then to the next slide because we're going to continue speaking about the phobias, but now we're going to see a video. And in the video, I want you to pay attention to the following questions. How many people suffer from phobias in the United States? Number two, what is nomophobia? We're going to watch a video about some freak phobias, right? The freakish phobias, which are not common. What is the phobia related to swallowing? What is dextrophobia? What is phobophobia? Or why is phobophobia considered the freakiest phobia? And number six, do you suffer from any of these phobias? And I want you to write your comments on the chat because I will go back then to the chat to see what your answers were. All right. Let's go then to YouTube in order to see the video. But before we start seeing, just 1 second, because I think that you cannot listen to it. So I need to go out and retake again the previous folio. Okay, here we go again. Okay, let's get started.
Phobia comes from the Greek word phobos.
Can you tell me whether you can listen to the video? Is it possible for you to listen?
Yes.
Okay, I'm going to start again from the very beginning.
The word phobia comes from the Greek word phobos, which is related to having a fear of something, or often what we might call an irrational fear. We are sure you've all heard of arachnophobia, which means a fear of spiders, or hydrophobia, which means a fear of water. According to the National Institute of Mental Health, 19.2 million US adults suffer from phobias, with some of the most common being a fear of spiders, a fear of snakes, a fear of heights, and a fear of flying. But today we'll focus on the freakiest of fears in this episode of the infographic show, Weirdest Phobias People Suffer From. Number 10, Xerophobia. This is a totally irrational fear of cheese. Yes, there are some people on this planet that just can't go near a piece of mature cheddar. They run for the hills when the waiter hangs over them with the Parmesan. Churi comes from Greek meaning cheese, and you know the rest. The English media in 2016 reported about a university student with this phobia who called her first contact with cheese traumatic. However, she did say that mozzarella wasn't as scary as the other cheeses. Number 9, omphophobia. This is the fear of the navel, or what we call the belly button. It may mean these people can't abide anyone going near their belly button, or that they freak out when close to another person's belly button. This is a pretty important part of the body, given that it connected us to our mothers. Only recently, in 2018, the UK press featured a 25-year-old student doctor who suffered from this phobia, with the Daily Mail saying that she suffers panic attacks and is physically sick when she sees someone's navel. As for the other way around, she said, if someone touches mine, it feels like they're touching my insides and I can feel it all through me. She may struggle to become a doctor if she doesn't get over that. Number 8, papaphobia. When some people find out that the guy who loves to wear a white head hat will be in town, they decide to take a vacation. The guy is the Pope, and papaphobia is a fear of him. It's thought this fear is related to other fears concerning being terrified of religious objects. When these people see the Pope, their heartbeat quickens, they sweat profusely, and sometimes feel nauseous. Apparently, if these folks do see the man, they should quickly swallow a Xanax or some similar type of anti-anxiety medication. Number 7, nomophobia. Nomophobia is weird, but according to reports, it's become very common among the younger generation. It means the fear of being without your cell phone, or fear of being without a charge, or even without connection to the internet. Psychology Today says some people are so scared to be without this thing, they shower with it, sleep with it, take it literally everywhere. In fact, cell phone addiction has become a big topic in the media, but some might be surprised that people are petrified of being without the device. A recent UK study consisting of over 2,100 people found that 58% of men suffered from this phobia, as did 47% of women. In the US, it is worse. 66% of all phone users suffering from nomophobia. The Guardian in 2017 said this detachment from the smartphone increases heart rate and blood pressure, causes anxiety, and generally affects users the way drug addicts first feel in the early stages of withdrawal. These screenagers have put their lives into this little beeping box, and as most psychologists will tell you, that box was created to be as addictive as anything. Welcome to the world of digital heroin. Number 6, ephebophobia. Speaking about these smartphone junkie teens, some people have a fear of them. Yes, ephebophobia is an irrational fear of teenagers or generally young people. Doubt sufferers need to see ID before they get the sweats. In every generation, you get these old folks decrying the youth of the day, saying they don't respect this or that, or in US comedian Doug Stanhope's opinion, that the digital generation is just not reckless enough. But apparently this aversion to our cute kids is on the rise. The Guardian interviewed one 16-year-old who said, I've had people cross the road to avoid me, but that was due to the age of fear of kids possibly being aggressive to old people. Kids these days are subject to moral panic, with older people telling them they are spoiled, too easily offended, until it comes to the point some people just don't want to be anywhere near their youths. But this seems to happen in every generation. One of the first books on the subject from the 1980s said nearly every generation of young people has been chastised for being out of control, aberrant in some way. Adult claims of the generation among the young can be found in nearly every previous decade. Only Doug Stanhope dislikes the young, he says, because they aren't aberrant enough. Number 5, phagophobia. This one must really suck. Phagophobia is the irrational fear of swallowing. We are told it is sometimes confused with a fear of eating or certain conditions related to weight, but it's closer to the fear of choking. The amount of research on this must mean it's quite common. One site tells us a person's throat muscles will flex and spasm during their panic attack, closing the throat and expelling any unwanted items out of the mouth. This could mean water, food, or medications, so it's very serious. The answer is therapy. Number 4, there's catophobia, the fear of the number 13. This person might also have a general fear of numbers, which is numerophobia. Others fear number 4, which is tetraphobia, but as for 13, what does that mean? Well, it's mostly related to superstition, sometimes related to myths or religion, and that generally number 13 is not a nice number. We have a show on this topic if you want to know more. As Time magazine reported, it's less a psychological malady than it is a silly superstition. For this reason, some businesses leave out the number on aisles, chairs, floors, or rooms, and believers will stay clear of the number if they do see it. Number 3, ablutophobia. This is not a good phobia to have if you are actively trying to find someone to date, because it means being terrified of washing or bathing. It's more common in kids than in adults, but a few hundred years back in Europe, many people had this phobia. These days, it's thought to be related to traumatic experiences as a child when bathing. Number 2, dextrophobia. This is certainly one of the most irrational of irrational fears. It's the fear of having things to the right of you. According to one source, it's related to obsessive-compulsive personality disorder, and sufferers will find themselves cluttering things in the home or office all to the left side. They don't like standing to the left of people or even driving in the left lane. Other people may have levophobia, which is a fear of things being to the left of them. If someone has both phobias, then they are really in trouble. Number 1, phobophobia. You could say our last phobia might make sense after you've watched this show, so it's the right way to end. As you might guess, it means the fear of having a phobia. So if you are feeling left out right now as you have no phobias, you might one day acquire this phobia. From the description, it sounds like a panic attack. The anxiety forms in the unconscious, and then suddenly the person will feel dizzy and tense. Their heart will pound, and be aware of something bad about to happen. This anxiety disorder can manifest as panic at any time because the person is always fearing getting a phobia, sometimes of something they love. As strange as it sounds, it's actually one of the most common phobias on this list. We'll leave you with this quote from Franklin D. Roosevelt. All we have to fear is fear itself. Ain't that the truth? So, do any of you out there have any phobias? Let us know more about it in the comments. Also, be sure to...
Okay. Now I will ask questions again, and I want you to use the chat in order to provide your answers, all right? Let's get started. The first thing is, or the first question is, how many people suffer from phobias in the US? Did you get that specific information? I think
Yes,
that there are a lot.
66%.
Sorry, I couldn't hear you.
66%.
All right. I think that it is a large number of people who are suffering from phobias, right? Thank you.
Yeah, I have 19.2 adults in the USA.
Yes,
19.2 million.
Yes, 19. We say in this case we say 19.2 million, right? 19.2 million. 19.2 million
Yeah.
people suffer from. I think it's a large number. It's more than the whole. It's larger than the whole number of people in Chile, right? Number 2, what is nomophobia? If you don't want to speak, you can just type your answers on the chat, right? What is nomophobia? Fear of having a phone. I think I have that one because whenever I have to go out, if I don't have my cell phone in my hand, I start sweating and I feel nervous, and I had to go back home in order to pick up my phone, right? And thank you very much. And what is the phobia related to swallowing? When you phagophobia, yes. Remember that the word phago means eat or eating, right? Phobia to, I don't know, that something gets stuck and you cannot probably breathe in. I think I have that also. I also have that particular phobia because whenever I have to take a pill, I think that I can die. So I need to have some. I have to bite the tablet, right? To chew the tablet. Okay, what is dextrophobia? What do you think dextrophobia is? Dextrophobia. Do you remember? It has to do with sides, right? Left or right. Dextrophobia. Dextrophobia is the phobia to have things on the right side. Yes, afraid of the right side. So the people who have dextrophobia avoid having things on the right side, right? And then we have why is phobophobia considered the trickiest phobia? Phobophobia. Phobophobia. Why is phobophobia the trickiest? The trickiest phobia. Remember
because
that
it's the fear of, yes,
having
let's be clear.
phobia. Yes, thank you very much, Catalina. And also Leslie, because it's the fear of having a phobia. So it's the fear of phobia. It's strange. That is the biggest. And many people suffer from this kind of phobia, or the phobia of having a phobia. And now a personal question. Do you suffer from one of these phobias? In my personal case, I think I have a phagophobia, and the second one is nomophobia. Have you got any of these? If you want to, you can write your comments on the chat for me to take a look at them.
I don't.
Which one? Yeah, Catalina?
I don't.
I can't even breathe when I take pills. All right, this is Daniel. I think we have the same kind of phobia. We suffer when we have to take a pill or to take a tablet. Right? So it's very I don't know. I feel anxious when I have to eat or to take a tablet. Right? All right. We have some minutes before we have a break. So let's move on then to, I'm going to continue presenting. Okay. Okay, here I am. Let's go back then. Okay. Can you see the screen? Okay. I'm going to focus now on nomophobia because I think that most of us have nomophobia. We spend a lot of time with our cell phones, with our smartphones or iPhones, and that when we don't have the mobile phones or the cell phones with us, we feel a little bit anxious, or sometimes we might feel kind of phobia. Nomophobia, no mobile phone phobia. Let's see some numbers, some statistics. For example, 80% of the people who have smartphones checks their device 80 times a day. It's a lot. I think that most of us have probably at the moment not checking your email address or something, or your WhatsApp, right? 2,616 is the average of users will tap, swipe, or click their phone 2,617 times a day. I would consider one of these people. Then we have the average time spent on smartphones, 2 hours, 15 minutes a day. 75% of all users bring their phones to the bathroom, and 12% of people use their phones in the shower. 80% of smartphone users check their phones within an hour of waking up. 62% do so immediately. 20% of people would rather go shoeless for a week than temporarily release their phones. And then we have 62% would rather go without chocolate for a week than lose their phone for a day. And 40% would rather lose their voice for a day. And finally, this is funny, 11% of smartphone users would rather leave home without their pants rather than their phone. I don't know whether I would go so far, but it is interesting to know the numbers, right? Let's see. Let me go here. Let's see if you suffer from this type of phobia. Here, there is a quiz that you can do on your own, right? I will give you the link for you to do it on your own if you want. So you can see whether you have a kind of nomophobia and how serious it can be, right? You can do it on your own. Then, here it is. Where it is? I lost it. Here. You can start the quiz here, and then you have to answer some questions. But now we're going to stop for a short break, and we are going to come back in 10 minutes. All right? I think at 11, at 11:10, we come back, right? So break. Have a short break until 11:10. I'm going to stop the camera and the microphone, right? See you then in a minute. Take care.